A show was announced for Disney Plus, marketed as a progressive, inclusive comedy. This show stars a cis male, Latinx character who lives with his family and begins to date a cis girl, but he begins to feel things deep down inside. He realizes that he has a crush on his cis male school friend, and over the course of season 1, gets to a point where he is able to open up about his sexuality, really dig down deep inside. After filming and marketing, the Disney studio decided to release it on Disney Plus. I'm here to talk about Love, Victor, Diary of a Future President, and queer reactions to queer representation. I'm here for it. For all you queer video YouTube people who don't get that, that's the theme song for Diary of a Future President. Full on scripty script now. Script. I have a script. So, what's going on? Well, Disney bad. Disney bad. She-Ra or bust. Screw liberal Disney, we want leftist DreamWorks. Oh! As someone who wants to be a mainstream creator of television, specifically marketed towards all family audiences, like a Disney, I'm worried. I mean, I'm a queer creator who wants to create queer content that's okay for a straight audience. I have like 3 pitches right now for a queer animated Disney feature. Bitch talks at the ready. So is Disney bad? Disney bad in 2 ways. Disney moved Love, Victor from Disney Plus to Hulu after marketing it as a Disney Plus exclusive. And 2, Love, Victor's first season was a bad portrayal of a queer leading character in a Disney television series. The discourse says Love, Victor's move to Hulu is bad because it erases queer visibility from Disney Plus. Well, that's false. Teen mockumentary High School Musical, the series, family sitcom Diary of a Future President, and Pixar short Out all feature queer representation, available now, like right now, this minute, on Disney Plus. Just to be clear, I'm using actor in a gender-neutral term, not trying to misgender anybody. Specifically, in terms of trans representation, Love, Victor features a non-binary character that uses they, them pronouns to like weird Victor out. While Diary of a Future President features a character that I read as cis, played by out trans activist and actor Alexander Billings. From the trans-produced Netflix documentary Disclosure, also available now worldwide, and featuring Alexander Billings, Diary of a Future President does specifically better than Love, Victor in terms of queer representation. Props to Diary of a Future President's casting director, G. Charles Wright. Because I keep accidentally saying Diary of a Female President, which is incorrect, I will now refer to Love, Victor as Love, Victor, Diary of a Future President as Diary, and High School Musical, the series, as High School Musical. So, who's complaining about Love, Victor? Well, you're watching queer YouTube right now, just take a look at my suggested videos. I don't really want this to be a call-out video about specific creators. Suffice it to say, the biggest Love, Victor video essays currently on YouTube are anti-Love, Victor and its representation. Disney bad! I want to highlight some different creators, specifically Alana Pena, the showrunner of Diary, and Brian Tannen, one of the co-showrunners of Love, Victor. Tim Federle, you're great, but Carlos barely counts as like a main character in your show. Carlos and Seb forever. I am a Carlos and Seb fan. For all you people who do not know who Carlos and Seb is, maybe you should get on Disney Plus and like watch some queer representation. Alana and Brian go about representation in 2 different ways. Here is a quote from Alana on representation. You want to make sure that once you get the opportunity to tell your story, you're able to continue. It's so early in our run, and I want to ensure that people show up so that we can keep telling our story. Brian on representation. Growing up, whatever queer content there was, I consumed it. I think there's such a desire from the community, such a hunger for anything gay, that when a show comes out like this, people want it to represent everything. They want it to reflect their experience, and I think that there's been a nice growth in gay representation in film and books and TV, but it still has a way to go. I used to love the books of Alan Hollinghurst. Ooh, Alan Hollinghurst. Name will be up. I should have checked pronunciations. Ugh. I devoured all of Amistad Maupin's Tales of City books. But honestly, anything that's gay content, I will probably watch it or read it. And I agree with both of those viewpoints, but I think some gay creators of the discourse don't want to acknowledge that there are multiple avenues towards varied queer representation. Traditionally animated, 2D, musical, Marsha P. Johnson, Bayard Rustin movie, or boycott. Actually, now I have 4 that are queer for you, Disney, because I know you're watching. I would urge you to look at Toon Ruins, the battle for LGBT plus content and cartoons, Dream Sounds, the unique queerness of Howard Ashman's songs, and Matt Baum's How Sitcoms Handled Homos in the 70s and 80s for more information on YouTube about the struggle to portray queerness in popular culture. James Somerton brings it up specifically in terms of Marvel queer representation in his recently released video, Evil Queens, a queer look at Disney history. Have you thought about liking and subscribing and becoming parasocial pals with me? Basically, putting any queer stuff on a mainstream platform is a tooth and nail fight to this day and in the foreseeable future. And that sucks. Disney is a capitalist company, and there are markets where homosexuality is still criminalized. Like, before I go on a vacation, I need to go check. Like, if I go to this place and I hold hands with my imaginary boyfriend, will they try to execute me? Imaginary boyfriend is also another queer Disney idea. It's like more of like a Disney Channel original movie level. Like, you know what I'm talking about. We're all Disney stans here, come on. But Disney is trying to use its immoral power for good. As James himself points out in Evil Queens, Disney refused to cut a scene in which a man acknowledged that he went on a date with another man and plans to go again. And yes, it sucks that that's still a big thing, but it is still a big thing. Ultimately, I think Disney is in a state of constant negotiation with its queer creators to push against the status quo and bring out more queer representation. Being the first of something inevitably means that you become the only of something for now. So Disney Plus's first marketed show with a queer lead becomes its only show with a queer lead in the public discourse, even though that is objectively wrong. Guys, go watch Diary of a Future President. Like, it's queer. I don't want to spoil it anymore for you because I kind of already told you what happens. Damn it. It does suck that Disney, the studio, moved Love, Victor from Disney Plus, which is available worldwide, to Hulu, which is only at this time available in the United States. It also doesn't surprise me that the people who are decrying this move the loudest are YouTube creators that are not based in the United States. It is unfair to say Disney is erasing queer content from Disney Plus. Disney and all the showrunners of Love, Victor all say that it was moved to Hulu because of its sexual content and its alcohol use, not its queer content. And the evidence supports it, as there are 3 other shows at the time of this airing. Could be more soon. What up, Disney? Hire me. The fact that there are queer shows on Disney Plus like Diary of a Female President, High School Musical, the series, and Pixar short Out, support that. The evidence is all there. Disney is fine with age-appropriate, teen drinking-free depictions of queerness. Woo! The showrunners of La Victor explicitly say they are okay with the move because now they can have a frank depiction of gay, queer, teenage sexuality. And empathetic depictions of queer sexuality are a glaring lack of representation that we do have in mainstream media. I guess I want queer media YouTubers to look deep down inside of themselves and ask what these videos are for. And again, not a call out, but I do want to highlight Sarah Zed's video, Double Standards and Diverse Media. It's pretty telling that we have a lot of Love Victor backlash, but not a lot of backlash on worst depictions of queer sexuality in teen dramas. If your goals are to highlight queer representation in children's media, where are the video essays on High School Musical, the series? Why does it seem like I'm the first video essayist to make an essay on Diary of a Future President and its nonchalant progressiveness? Why? Why? I want to blame the discourse. The discourse. The discourse. The discourse. The discourse. But to be completely honest, we are all the discourse. So this is, I want to end this with two quotes here. The first is James Somerton's from his video, The Stonewall Effect, Gay Geek Theory.
So we've got one Oscar-winning box office hit on our hands. First time since Brokeback Mountain. 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago. So what are we going to do now? This time, are we going to ignore the next LGBT inclusive movie because it wasn't made exactly like we wanted it to be? Or are we going to swallow our here and queer pride and support LGBT cinema even when it's not great? Because remember, it took a lot of slave movies and terrible comedies to get to Black Panther. So let's show Hollywood we mean business. The next time an LGBT inclusive movie hits a theater near you, go. Take Friends, see it twice, even if you hate it. Because if it makes money, we might just get a gay superhero movie in the next few years.
And the second is from the casting director of Diary of a Future President. For decades, I felt like technology was moving too fast to keep up with. But in recent years, I've found that technology has allowed us all to better understand each other and to see that none of us are alone. Hooray for screen time, and hooray for the queer robot uprising. We still have so far to go in terms of queer representation, but that shouldn't stop us from turning around and looking back and seeing how far we've come, especially recently. Also, queer robot uprising sounds like a great idea for a movie. Alan Menken, Bobby Lopez, Lynn. I have a Patreon. Cool. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Push forth. To challenge the status quo. To challenge. Stick to the status quo. No, 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 no. Stick to the status quo. Oh, no, no, no. Stick to the stuff you know. I should have invented a song parody for that. Tim Federle, help me.